Hey everyone, this is David Seven Skies, and this is the review of my latest remix, Oliver Smith, Symmetry, Seven Skies remix. Enjoy! Hello everyone, David Seven Skies here, and finally I'm back with some Logic stuff. I'm pretty sure you missed it, didn't you? Yeah, just don't mind my voice today, I'm a little bit bad colded, so yeah. What do we have here? Of course we have Oliver Smith Symmetry Seven Skies remix. This is the final project. Doesn't really look different compared to the other one. It's probably has more tracks than usual. That's 110. 110? That should be. I don't know, there's like a big jump here. It's 98 here and then 110, so maybe it's like about 100 tracks. But yeah, well, you're pretty used to see big stuff on my videos. And yeah, well, pretty basic. Bass is always orange, percussion is always green, and leads and pads, random colors. And then we have the markers over here. Let me zoom in a little bit. See the mouse? Yeah, you're okay. The markers over here with, you know, I just have track a little point where I know where the intro is, where the build up is gonna be, where the drop is, where the break is, and all that kind of stuff. You know it by now. So let's start. Of course, we might want to start with the percussions. And let me solo a whole bunch of stuff here. Sorry, I just had the F like that. Yeah, if you know me a little bit, you know that I don't use any loop. So this is all programmed. This is from battery. So yeah, basically what I use for percussion is a bunch of VXS24, then of course battery, there's ultra bit here, but I'm pretty sure it only plays the hi-hat, which is probably this one. I love this hi-hat. So yeah, it's battery, EXS24, and F-Expansion Geist, or however you want to call it. Lovely plugin. So yeah, I put all my patterns here, I do all my percussions, and then I simply drag all my stuff into MIDI. And yeah, I hardly use any loop, as you know. There's nothing wrong with using loops. The fact is that I'm a control freak, so I always like to have everything the way I want it. So I prefer to make my own loops and my own percussion things. It's the same thing for the presets actually. The synth sound. I always like to program my own stuff. You know, it just give me the freedom of actually get the sound I want and have it the way I want it. And you know, also have something that other people cannot have. It's always quite nice. Anyway, so yeah, as always, everything goes inside a bus. Actually, there are two buses in this track. And there is a Waves SSL compressor just to glue up everything. Some saturation. This is a plugin I always use for my percussion. Makes them a little bit dirty, a little bit more on the mid-range. It's really nice. This is probably for Sidechain, yes. Then you can hear there's some filtering. So yeah, here something is gonna happen with the clap. And what's gonna happen is that the reverb is gonna open, the clap is gonna be filtered here, and at the same time the reverb is opening, and this helps a little bit with the transition. So yeah, that's the whole bunch of stuff that is happening in this little part. Cutoff, high frequency is not touched. Then there is the reverb coming up, and I don't think the pan has been touched. The pan has been touched afterwards on the climax, on the main part. And it's just because I always do that when I mix. I tend to move stuff around in the different parts. Like for example, in the build-up, the clap. Oh, there is a lot of stuff, but there isn't something as important as the lead in the climax part. I mean, in the climax you have the lead, you have the melody. That's the most important thing, and so everything can be put in a background. While in the build-up, you don't have something that important, so you can have stuff a little bit more in your face, and so in this case the clap is more in the center on the build-up. And then it goes a little bit more on the left side on the climax, so that I have more space for my lead. And yeah, it's a little mixing trick that I use. I move stuff around in the different parts, and you will see that right here. So this is the climax. In the whole climax part, it's gonna be more on the left, right? Yes. And as soon as the climax ends, the clap is gonna come back to a more centered position. Right, let's move on. And now, let's talk about the bass. I think this is one of the nicest sequences for the bass that I have done so far. Turn on the sidechain. So, bass, no surprise, it's strobe. It's 3 layers. 2 layers are strobe and 1 layer is the Virus DI. Let me play them in solo. This is pretty basic. It's a big saw, a little bit of noise, but you can't really hear it. A lot of distortion. Filter is not fully open. this is actually the sub bass, so it doesn't matter if the cutoff is open or not. It gives the big boom bass. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't have high frequencies. Normally the noise would give high frequency, but in this case I used it because it helps having a dirtier type of saw. You can actually tell from the, oh, let me zoom in. You can actually tell from the visualizer here that the saw is very moved and gritty and kind of, I don't know, disturbed or scratched, whatever you want to call it. While if this is actually at 3%, if I put it down, you see, it's all clean. So clean and tidy and polished, and we don't want that. We're gritty, we want proper farts, so yeah. Push up a little bit so we can have this grittiness. That's always nice, especially in the Seven Skies stuff. Yeah, I know you hate farts in trance music, blah blah blah, bring back the rolling bass, whatever. Anyway, then we have another strobe. This is a wide type of sound. Not kind of stupid as well if you listen to it in solo. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But what? Ooh, let me zoom out. Ooh, a fancy new camera, I can zoom now. Yeah, so as you can see here, blip, blip, blum. Let me resume again. Oh my god, this zoom is so cool. This is the pan, and with the whole modulation kind of thing that I'm not gonna explain, where I could, but it would be a long thing. Basically, I can have a very wide type of sound with strobe, and this is what I use to widen up my my bass. So I have the big boom sub bass that has no high frequencies and stays in the center, and then I have this one which is like, I mean, it's really tiny and stupid, but it helps with widening up the bass. And then I have the virus, which is, let's say, it's kind of what you hear the most in the track, but it doesn't really do much. I mean, it doesn't have too much bass because there is a low cut. Let me zoom out. There is a low cut over it. It wouldn't be like that otherwise, but I'm pretty sure you can't tell the difference. But yeah, it doesn't really have too much bass, but what it does, it has a lot of mid-range frequencies, and it gives the good gritty body for what I need. So if I wouldn't have the virus, it would sound like this, which has bass and it's wide, but there's something missing. I mean, well, if I bring up the virus without virus, with virus, and without, big difference. So yeah, again, I said it millions times in my videos, but the key to a good sounding track, it's not just a good sounding track. I mean, a good sounding element is to layer a lot, take the best out of your synth. I mean, if there is a synthesizer which is great on the stereo field, just use it for the stereo field. If you have another synthesizer which is great on the bass side, use it for the bass part and combine them together so that you can have the best of both to create something really cool. I was trying to say something pretty smart, but it didn't come. Anyway, I was talking about some other sequences, and let me mute the bass. So yeah, all these distorted sounds, everything comes, pretty much everything comes from ES2, I mean this to the background sequence. Everything is ES2. If you want to look at the settings. So yeah. But there is actually a lot of post-processing. If you know the song, you can tell that that part is really wide, and the trick is done by this awesome plugin, which is part of the Logic bundle plugins. So if you have Logic, you have this one as well. It's called Sample Delay, and what it does, I mean, I don't know if I ever talked about this plugin, but it's one of the best plugins there is, and even the simplest plugin there is in Logic. What it does is that it delays either the left channel or the right channel. So it creates an unbalanced signal where left or right side come after the opposite side, if it makes sense. And in this case, the right side comes 396 samples. I don't know how to define samples. It's not millisecond, it's different. It comes 396 sample after the left channel. So what you have is a slightly delayed signal, and what you perceive is a very wide type of sound. In this case I used it on the bass because I wanted something very wide to go along with the main bass. So yeah, that's it. Then we have some other sequences, this kind of dubstep sound. It's actually ES2, but it's been rendered, so I can't really show you the setting, but all I remember was a lot of distortion everywhere, so just put distortion and you get cool sounds. That's pretty much the way it is. So the whole thing is like big bass, all the bass layer and all the sequences, it sounds like this. And then of course the bass and everything goes inside a bus. Basically the biggest compression and EQ that is done is by again the solid state Logic from Waves. This is the SSL EQ. It works really good, especially on the bottom end. I really like the way it pushes up the bottom end. And yeah, there's like a little bit of push on 50 Hz, 56 actually. So it's a little bit of bass in there. There's a little bit of a low cut. I always low cut my bass. A lot of people don't, a lot of people do, whatever, as far as it sounds good, who cares. Then there is a little bit of a push in the, what's that, 200 Hz, just to give it a little bit of It's not actually bass, it's mid-bass frequency. Gives a little bit of presence, I'd say. And then 3 dB on 8 kilohertz to give a little bit of a sparkle. Then, of course, a little bit of compression. I mean, if I bypass this thing, it's gonna sound way different because of the 10 dB gain that I gave it. But it's not that I cranked it so much. The signal comes in at -5 dB, and here I lowered it down 5 dB again, and so with the compression I push it up again, but it's not that I go inside with a 0 dB level signal and then I push it up 10 dB extra. That would sound pretty awful. So everything is leveled, everything is really quiet, and then it's pushed up back again. So don't be scared of this 10 dB. The thing is that if I bypass it, it's gonna sound a little bit different, especially in volume. So yeah, completely different. But except for the volume, the real difference is with the punch. The bass has way more punch, and of course the SSL compression is before the sidechain. Now I had, let's not call them arguments, but a lot of discussion on several forums about, is the sidechain before or after the compression? I put it after, and there is a simple reason why I do this. So the sidechain is gonna cut part of our sound, okay? Because when the trigger kicks in, our bass or our whatever, it's gonna be pushed down in volume, okay? So if we put a compressor after the sidechain, the compressor is gonna react after the sidechain. And of course, with the sidechain, the whole attack and release thing of the actual sound are gonna be messed up because they're not controlled by the actual physical sound, but they're controlled by an external trigger. So, I mean, if we want to compress the actual sound, it has to be on the untouched sound. Because if we put it after the sidechain, of course, in some part, he's not gonna have any attack, any transient to react on. I'm not sure it's making kind of sense. I mean, if you sit down and try a few things, it will sound different. But yeah, that's the best way I can explain this. But again, this is not a rule. I mean, whatever sounds good for you is the right thing. There's no right and no wrong. I mean, if I put hell, I don't know, a reverb right after all these chain, and it would sound good, even if the reverb is not supposed to be there. Who cares? If it sounds good, it sounds good. Yeah, that's it for the bass part. Now, let's have a look at the dressing elements, let's call them that way, which are especially in the build-up. So the dressing elements might be, what are these? The stab, this one. That is not working, of course, for some stupid reason. Okay. So yeah, lovely chords. They come from, again, EXS24, yeah, whatever, ES2, and yeah, as you can see, init sound is just a sound I did from scratch. It's just pretty simple. This makes the sound a little bit more detuned, and a little bit of unison, 2 saw waves, and then a little bit of square wave, but you can set the pulse width by moving it up and down. Now I screwed it up, just hit compare, and of course I automated the cutoff so it grows up. And yeah, there's a little bit of delay and stuff, but that's send effects. These are send effects. This is what I used to compress it. And yeah, lately I've been extremely in love with this compressor. It's actually what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 compressor. 10 different compressors. Every compressor has a different type of character. This is based on the Fairchild, and then there are others. Like for example, this is the 1176, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be the 1176. And what's that? This is the DBX. This I always forget how the hell it's called. But yeah, it's by MCDSP and is totally worth it. It's a great plugin, great compressor. It sounds extremely good. It's really easy to set up, and it works really well on everything. I mean, this setting works really good on leads and that kind of stuff. This setting is amazing on vocals, and this one is great on kicks. This type of compressor is so punchy. It's incredible. So yeah, definitely worth to download the demo and check it out. You need an iLok to have this thing working. So yeah, just so you know.